Hey everybody, KC here. So there were a number of stories last week in the Boston Globe about rude customers at restaurants. And apparently this is happening all over. The one that got a lot of attention around the country was this restaurant called Apt in Brewster, Massachusetts, which is on Cape Cod, where things got so bad that the owners actually gave employees some extra time off, basically closing it during part of the one day, just to give them a little mental health time. And this is absolutely crazy. I read this story, and I have to say, Mrs. Content Guy and I are going up to Cape Cod sometime in August, and we're definitely going to Apt, and we're going to be really nice to people because it sounds like they totally deserve it. And the thing is, restaurateurs all over are talking about, after the pandemic, as people are just dying to go back out again, and customers are behaving in an unruly, abusive fashion towards staff. They have just unreasonable expectations. I mean, things like people going to restaurants and when they don't get seated when their reservation is, that we're going to sue. And they're being actually kind of nasty. And the thing is, listen, these restaurants, they were closed for a long time. As they reopen, they've got limited staff, limited capacity, and limited product. I mean, they're facing the same staff shortage that a lot of businesses are facing. And customers are just not responding well. As far as I'm concerned, there's absolutely no excuse for this kind of crap. There is no excuse for going to a place like that and being abusive or unruly and being mean to people who are clearly doing their best. To me, in a lot of ways, this suggests that the distance between the haves and the have-nots or the have-less, it's widening even further. And people who feel entitled have just decided they can treat people any damn way they want. And as I say, there's no excuse for that. It's funny. We've always had a joke around our house. I've always said to Mrs. Content Guy, and I'm talking for like 40 years now, I've always said the fabric of society is kind of unraveling. And my position always been, it starts when people don't stop at red lights. They don't stop at stop signs. They don't let people walk across the street in front of them. They just kind of blow through. And when those things start to happen, it sort of presages, if you will, a kind of general unraveling as civil behavior starts to fall apart. And from there, society just goes to hell. And lately, it seems to have gotten a lot worse. And in fact, yesterday, Mrs. Content Guy looked at me and said, that thing about unraveling of society? She goes, you were before your time on that one. I have to say, after being married to this woman for a long time, there may be no nicer thing that she's ever said to me. I don't know. I think if I owned a store, I think I'd want to put a sign up on the front door where the customers come in and say, if your default position is to be rude to the people who work here, please shop someplace else. And in the back room where the employees come in, I think I'd want to have a sign that says, if your default position is that you're going to be rude to the people who shop here, go work someplace else. And listen, that may mean you have fewer staff people and you may actually have fewer customers. But, listen, I'm going to just come right out and say it. Life is too short to have to deal with assholes. That's the way I feel about it. Anyway, that's what's on my mind this morning. And as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.